The clock had long since struck midnight. After an endless night of restless thoughts, I finally rose from the tangled sheets to seek solace in a glass of water. The lights in the living room flickered, casting uncertain shadows across the walls. Indeed, it was that night. My brother Amos had unexpectedly decided to send Victor over to stay with me for a while, leaving me to ponder the implications of this ambiguous arrangement. Upon learning of his fate, a profound ache settled within me. His wife had betrayed him, leaving his world in disarray. Victor, who had shared his life with the same woman for years, found himself caught off guard in a way he never anticipated. Amos's son found himself in a troubling situation, one that seemed to unfold in ways he never anticipated. He found himself unable to confront it as well.
"Lucy, you have to take him in,"
Amos had implored, his voice laced with an urgency that felt almost palpable. He craves a moment of stillness. I had only a fleeting acquaintance with Victor, yet it was clear that the shadows surrounding him stemmed from a woman's treachery, leaving me to ponder the depths of his despair. Our family had already endured an unsettling amount of loss. It's been 7 years since Jack left this world, and the weight of that absence still lingers in the air, unshakable and haunting. At 60, I found myself grappling with the shock of his sudden death from a heart attack. One moment, we were crafting the vision of our ideal home. It was meant to be completed in a year, yet suddenly everything came to a halt. Jack's death turned everything I knew into a chaotic whirlwind. Alone, I lingered in silence, grappling with the weight of an emptiness that has haunted me for years. Yet, recently, the solitude has struck with an intensity that feels almost overwhelming. This evening unfolded in a way that caught me off guard. Are you prepared for what lies ahead? This is far from an ordinary tale. This delves into the hazy boundaries, feelings that twist and turn, and the unvoiced cries of a revelation poised on the brink of emergence. Each instant could ignite a flicker within, unveiling feelings you were unaware of, challenging limits you believed were unbreakable. If this resonates with the tale you've been anticipating, perhaps it's time to consider subscribing and activating those notifications. Your support carries a weight I can't quite articulate. I cautiously approached the living room, each step heavy with uncertainty. As I ventured further, I caught sight of Victor, absorbed in a romantic film flickering on the screen. In that fleeting moment, my thoughts were consumed by the hope that Victor could somehow discover a semblance of peace while he was here. Yet, I remained unaware that life was weaving a different narrative altogether. So many things were unraveling, and it felt as though a single step, just one, could alter the entire course of events. Victor turned to me, his voice laced with uncertainty, and asked,
"Did I wake you up?"
His voice carried an unsettling blend of doubt and an urgent longing for tranquility. There I was, draped in my nightgown, yet somehow that detail felt inconsequential. In that moment, an overwhelming sense of isolation enveloped me, deeper than I had ever known. "No," I replied, my smile lingering, yet somehow uncertain. I found myself here, drawn to the simple act of fetching water, yet something feels off, as if the ordinary holds a deeper significance I can't quite grasp. In that moment, a profound sense of isolation enveloped me, and I found myself wishing for time to stretch, to linger just a little longer. Perhaps a few moments with Victor could fill the void of the night in ways I can't quite predict. Perhaps sharing a movie might evoke a sense of normalcy in my life, a fleeting glimpse of peace amidst the chaos.
"Come sit,"
Victor said, his voice carrying an unspoken weight as he gestured to the vacant space on the couch beside him. The choice seemed straightforward at first glance, yet there lingered an unsettling complexity beneath the surface. I longed to embrace the night, seeking even a flicker of warmth, a hint of significance. As I took a seat beside him, a strange tension filled the air, leaving me to ponder the unspoken thoughts swirling between us. The movie began, yet my mind drifted, unable to latch on to the unfolding scenes. There was an unsettling presence within me, an elusive feeling that I struggled to comprehend. Victor's presence, the way this unfamiliar figure occupied the space beside me, the subtle tremor in his voice, everything felt so disconcertingly unfamiliar. As the romantic scenes in the movie unfolded, I felt an urge to divert my gaze from the screen, caught in a moment of uncertainty. The couple on the screen, inching closer, stirred memories I believed were long buried. In a moment that caught me off guard, I inadvertently tilted my head and felt the fleeting touch of Victor's arm. I recoiled abruptly. Apologies slipped from my lips, my gaze flickering nervously elsewhere. I never intended for this to happen. Victor paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face before he finally nodded slightly.
It's okay,
He murmured, his voice barely above a whisper.
don't worry about it.
Yet, in that instant, the distance separating us seemed to shrink in ways I couldn't quite grasp. The film continued to unfold, yet an unsettling shift lingered in the air, altering everything that had come before. In that moment, both Victor and I were engulfed in a disquieting uncertainty, unable to grasp any semblance of tranquility. Despite our proximity, an unsettling void lingered between us, as if the silence was thickening, making it harder to connect. That night lingered in my mind as the beginning of an intricate web, far more convoluted than I ever anticipated. That moment felt like a harbinger of the impending shift, shrouded in uncertainty. The night had shifted in an unsettling way. Sitting there on the couch, watching a romantic movie with Victor, an unsettling pull towards him stirred within me, leaving me to question the nature of my feelings. Despite wearing my nightgown in the proximity to another man after such a long period of solitude, an undeniable tension began to weave itself into the air, leaving me in a state of uncertainty. Victor's presence lingered uneasily in the air. It was prompting me to confront unsettling truths. Perhaps it was the solitude that had enveloped me for so long, but the proximity to another man in this manner awakened a deep, unsettling feeling within me. It was perplexing and strange, leaving me in a state of uncertainty, yet I couldn't deny the emotions stirring within me for Victor. That night, everything began to shift into focus. Not a moment of ease passed until the credits rolled, and once they did, I found myself retreating to my room, sitting on the edge of my bed, lost in thought for what felt like an eternity. I found myself in a maze of thoughts, yet the focus eluded me. What was it that demanded my contemplation? I was completely taken by surprise. Drifting off with a whirlwind of emotions was far from a fresh start. The night slipped away in restless turmoil, each moment stretching into the next, leaving me tangled in uncertainty. The absence of rest pulled me into the dawn, leaving me to ponder the weight of the day ahead. As the dawn broke, I found myself drawn to the piano, seeking to dispel the unsettling feelings that lingered within. For nearly 7 years, solitude had been my constant companion, and each morning I found myself yearning for a sense of normalcy that seemed to slip further away. The piano resonated with a familiarity that was both comforting and unsettling, evoking memories of Jack that lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken words. As my fingers glided over the keys, I found myself wondering if this morning would offer any semblance of relief. Suddenly, a sound pierced the stillness outside. A shadow loomed before the town, unsettling and undefined. Initially, he slipped into my awareness unnoticed. Yet as the haunting melody enveloped the space, he quietly pushed the front door open and stepped inside. I continued to play, lost in my own world, until an unexpected glance revealed him standing there, silently observing me. My fingers halted for a moment, and that tightness within me? Indeed, it surged forth, more intense than I had anticipated. Yet Victor merely smiled at me, as if everything in the world was perfectly in order.
That was beautiful,
He murmured, a hint of uncertainty in his voice. Thank you. To be truthful, I never anticipated receiving something so remarkable for my birthday. In that fleeting instant, a wave of exhilaration washed over me. As Victor entered, an unsettling change enveloped the room, as if we had crossed into an entirely unfamiliar realm. And then, he spoke in a tone that was both calm and genuine, something entirely unfamiliar to me. What did I just say? It is indeed true. Observing you for merely a few minutes stirred something within me that I hadn't felt in ages. Have you ever considered? Today marked my 40th year. It was surprising how quickly I became aware of the emotions those words awakened within me. I turned my gaze away, grappling with the tumult of feelings that clashed against the lingering warmth of his words. In that moment, after what felt like an eternity, a flicker of connection stirred within me, hinting at an impending shift that was both unsettling and intriguing. After the thrill of that morning, I felt a strange anticipation for the evening. Discovering it was Victor's 40th birthday stirred something within me, compelling me to take action, to create a sense of normalcy, perhaps even something remarkable. A sudden thought struck me, and I glanced over at him. "Is today really your birthday?" I inquired. "So, here we are, ready to mark this moment. What if we shared a bottle of wine and sliced into a cake this evening?" Victor offered me a smile that caught me off guard.
Well, if you're suggesting it, I suppose tonight could take an unexpected turn,
He remarked, a flicker of intrigue dancing in his gaze. Then, after a moment of silence, he leaned in with a sly smile. "But there's a twist. Once more, I find myself yearning for you to play the piano for me. There's no escaping the situation." With a nervous chuckle, I attempted to dispel the tension coiling within me. "Fine," I replied, "but only if we uncork a fine bottle of wine and raise a meaningful toast." That seemingly trivial exchange lingered in my mind, casting shadows I wasn't prepared to confront. Emotions surged within me, yet I forced them down, convincing myself that tonight was merely about creating an illusion of normalcy. It was merely a birthday, a small gathering. Nothing more. But then Victor spoke in a way that seemed ordinary, yet it was so jarring that it completely unsettled me. He gazed at me, that familiar, innocent look in his eyes, and inquired,
"How old are you? What, 45?
I stood still for a moment. I had always made an effort to embrace a youthful spirit, yet the sincerity of that compliment left me momentarily disoriented. A smile crept onto my face, unbidden and puzzling. "Oh, not quite," I replied, attempting to dismiss it, yet a flicker of anticipation lingered beneath the surface of my calm demeanor. Inside, I sensed a tug of war within me, caught between the comforting embrace of his affection and the chaotic whirlwind of feelings I struggled to contain. As evening descended, Victor and I found ourselves uncorking the wine, an unspoken tension hanging in the air as we prepared to mark the occasion. As we spoke, an unanticipated closeness began to form between us. His warmth, the way he focused on me, created a strange sense of comfort that I couldn't quite grasp. There was an unspoken connection between us, an intensity that seemed to deepen with each fleeting second. Inside, a voice persistently urged me to approach this as if it were just another typical night. But then Victor lifted his glass, a smile dancing on his lips, and with a glint in his lively eyes, he asked, "So when will you play something for me?" Deep down, you realize there's no escape from this situation. For a fleeting moment, uncertainty gripped me. In that moment, I inhaled deeply, steeling myself as I uttered the words,
"All right, let's do it."
I found myself at the piano, allowing the notes to spill forth once more, yearning for them to soothe the turmoil brewing within. With each note, I sensed a subtle change, an inexplicable pull towards him, even as the music enveloped me in its depths. In an unexpected twist, I discovered solace in his attentive gaze, the way he seemed to cherish every word, as if it held the weight of the universe. What I anticipated as a straightforward celebration morphed into an experience I never saw coming. In that instant, it was as if I caught a fleeting shadow of an emotion long forgotten, something undeniably genuine. My vision wavered, fingers hesitatingly tracing the keys, each note a question lingering in the air. Every note awakened a feeling within me, yet its essence eluded my grasp. Victor's voice lingered in my thoughts, a haunting reminder that my heart and mind were gradually separating, each pulling away into their own uncertain realms. I found myself adrift, unaware of the moment I should have pulled away. My hands instinctively reached for another melody, and then, out of nowhere, Victor stood beside me. He positioned his hands softly atop mine, a gesture that lingered in the air, heavy with unspoken thoughts. "You're an incredible woman," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper, tinged with uncertainty. "Your piano playing is truly captivating." His words reverberated in my mind, creating an unsettling void that lingered. His warm hands over mine had a peculiar ability to anchor me, even as my emotions twisted and turned into an abyss. "Come on, you're tired," he said, his voice low, carrying an undercurrent that hinted at something unspoken. "How about we take a moment on the couch, just for a while? I have something for you that you might not see coming." With a touch that felt both reassuring and unsettling, Victor led me to the couch. I found myself grappling with the unfolding events, unable to fully grasp their significance. Yet, there was an undeniable weight to the moment that lingered in the air. As I settled into my seat, a whirlwind of thoughts continued to churn within me. Then Victor returned to the piano, his steps heavy with unspoken thoughts. I observed his hands gliding over the keys, a fluid motion that felt both familiar and unsettling. In an instant, he began to play the melody that I cherished most. It struck me with an unsettling clarity. It was the song that had lingered in my heart for years, its meaning shifting like shadows in the twilight. The one that consistently awakened a profound sensation within me. As he played, a strange tension gripped my heart. Each note stirred echoes of the past, confronting me with shadows I wasn't prepared to encounter. I found myself sitting in silence, the music enveloping the space, stirring an inexplicable feeling within me. Eventually, the stillness became unbearable. The melody he played drew me in as if it were beckoning me from some hidden place within myself. With each step, I approached him, grappling with the turmoil that churned within me. As I approached, positioning myself beside him, a sense of uncertainty washed over me, leaving me at a loss for action. "You're truly exceptional at this," I murmured, my voice quaking as I struggled to mask the rapid thumping of my heart. "And there you are, playing that song I love, the one that stirs something deep within me." My words lingered in the stillness, reverberating through the space as a tumult of feelings wrestled inside me. "What is it that defines you, Victor?" I inquired, my voice scarcely rising above a murmur. You're truly affecting me in ways I didn't foresee. I've never experienced anything quite like this. A whirlwind of emotions engulfed me, overwhelmed, confused, excited, terrified, and yet somehow happy all at once. Our eyes locked, the air thick between us, his breath brushing against my skin. Gazing into his eyes, I sensed a disquieting plunge into an uncharted realm. In that fleeting moment, everything seemed to freeze. His gaze sent a shiver through me, igniting a flutter of emotions I couldn't quite decipher. In that moment, it seemed as if we existed in a realm apart, isolated from everything else around us. Everything unfolded with a curious twist, revealing layers that were not immediately clear. In that moment, it seemed as if everything else faded away, leaving only the two of us in a fragile, uncertain space. All else dissolved into the background, and in that moment, clarity emerged, yet it felt profoundly altered. My gaze met his, and in that fleeting moment, the world around us faded into obscurity. All the chaos, uncertainty, and frantic thoughts evaporated, leaving just Victor and me in a suspended moment. His hands lingered on my waist, a paradox of strength and softness, anchoring me while leaving room for uncertainty. My mind was a whirlwind, and I found myself questioning whether it was the wine or the tumult of emotions swirling within me. Without Victor anchoring me, I questioned whether I could remain upright at all. The gaze he held was both unsettling and comforting, drawing me in deeper. In that fleeting instant, his warmth enveloped me, a fragile sense of security amidst the swirling uncertainty around us. "Text, you should take a moment to rest," he murmured, gently steering me toward the couch, his words wrapped around me like a soothing blanket. Yet the sensation of his hands on my waist stirred a disquieting tension within. As I settled into my seat, his hands hovered for an unsettling moment, and once more our gazes intertwined. I found myself at a loss for words, grappling with a swirl of emotions I couldn't quite decipher. The warmth of his touch lingered in the air, transforming the night into something I couldn't fully grasp, leaving me with a sense of unease and wonder. That night on the couch unfolded in ways I never anticipated, leaving me with a lingering sense of wonder and uncertainty. Everything unfolded in a blur, leaving me with little chance to grasp the reality of it all before dawn broke. As I slowly opened my eyes, an unsettling feeling washed over me, compelling me to rise and make my way toward the living room. each step heavy with uncertainty. The aroma of coffee drifted in from the kitchen, rousing me from my drowsy haze, leaving me in a state of uncertainty. And there he was, Victor, in the kitchen, shirtless, making coffee, an image that stirred something unnameable within me. His body, lingering with the warmth and strength of the previous night, lay exposed, inviting contemplation. What about me? Reflecting on last night stirred an unsettling feeling that coursed through me. The remnants of my nightgown and underwear lay strewn across the floor, a silent testament to the chaos of the night. The mere recollection stirred a mix of unease and exhilaration within me, leaving me in a state of uncertainty. As I replay the night in my mind, a deeper sense of confusion envelops me. What was about to unfold now? How am I supposed to even start unraveling that mystery? Yet there was a lingering clarity amidst the uncertainty. There was a bond between us that caught me off guard, something I couldn't quite decipher. This night, this moment, carried an unsettling weight, hinting at a shift that could alter the course of my existence in ways I couldn't yet comprehend. Victor turned from the kitchen, his gaze lingering on me, a softness in his eyes that contrasted with the tension in the air, his smile carrying an unspoken weight. The silence hung heavily between us, laden with all that remained unsaid. As I stood there observing him, I grappled with the uncertainty of the moment, wrestling with the emotions swirling within me. The situation was a chaotic whirlwind. I found myself at a crossroads, uncertain of the path ahead, grappling with the weight of indecision. In that moment, I felt adrift, ensnared by the intensity around me, yet an unsettling shift tugged at my awareness. A realization that the course was irrevocable. Standing there as Lucy, I was engulfed by a tumultuous blend of exhilaration and uncertainty, each emotion intertwining in a disquieting dance. Since last night, everything felt disjointed, leaving me in a state of confusion. Everything unfolded in a blur. My clothes lay scattered on the floor, and as I caught sight of them, I shut my eyes for a moment, a subtle shake of my head escaping me. The situation was so intricate that I found myself lost in a haze, unable to decipher my thoughts, much less my emotions. I rose abruptly, a sense of urgency propelling me toward the bathroom. A shower was essential, a moment to cleanse not just my body, but the chaotic thoughts swirling within me, pulling me deeper into uncertainty. My nightgown and underwear remained exactly as they had been, untouched and unbothered. The chaos around me felt strangely irrelevant. All I desired was to immerse myself in the cascade of hot water, to momentarily evade the turmoil, even if only for a fleeting moment. After a while, I stepped out of the shower, wrapping myself in a towel, when without warning, the door swung open. Victor lingered in the shadows, his presence both unsettling and uncertain. I stood still, caught in a moment that felt both surreal and uncertain. For an instant, we were both frozen in place, our eyes locked, lingering in a moment thick with unspoken tension. Trapped in a gaze that held an unsettling weight, time seemed to lose its meaning. Uncertainty loomed over me, leaving me at a loss for action. The turmoil and uncertainty reflected in my gaze were unmistakable, leaving me feeling utterly bare, defenseless. And yet, in a way I couldn't quite grasp, the words surged within me, breaking free and tumbling out into the open. I find myself lost in uncertainty, my voice quivering slightly as I speak. What are we really doing? I'm aware of the misstep, yet it envelops me in a surreal haze. Victor edged nearer, the air thick with unspoken tension. His eyes held a tumult of conflicting emotions, each one vying for attention in a silent struggle. We were both in the dark about what lay ahead. In that moment, I felt an urge to speak, yet the words eluded me, hanging in the air like a heavy silence.
"Your coffee's ready,"
Victor said, his voice trembling slightly, as if the words themselves carried an unspoken weight. As my gaze fell upon him, a realization washed over me. How chaotic, and yet oddly captivating everything appeared. The future never crossed my mind. In that fleeting instant, I found myself fully immersed. As I settled into my chair with a steaming cup of coffee, a storm of uncertainty brewed within me. Across the table, Victor's gaze met mine, a silent acknowledgement of the tangled history that lingered between us. Everything unfolded in a blur, leaving me struggling to grasp the reality of it all. What had we truly done? What emotions stirred within us? I felt an urge to articulate my thoughts, yet the right words eluded me, leaving everything shrouded in uncertainty.
Lucy,
Victor began, his voice taut with uncertainty. What we did feels so deeply wrong, and I can't shake that feeling. How did we find ourselves in this situation? His eyes revealed a complex mix of guilt intertwined with a deeper understanding. He understood, as I did, that everything had taken a turn for the worse. Shouldn't we feel a sense of regret about this? It was a choice we never anticipated making. Silence hung in the air. My thoughts twisted in uncertainty, yet at last I discovered my voice amidst the chaos. Perhaps, but it's hard to say for sure. Everything unfolded in a blur, yet something felt off, unsettlingly so. We allowed circumstances to spiral out of control, and in retrospect, it all seems shrouded in confusion. This was a misstep for the two of us, I remarked. A heaviness settled on my chest, yet an odd sense of relief washed over me as I acknowledged that we had both crossed a line. Victor fell silent, his gaze fixed on the floor, before finally lifting his eyes to meet mine.
"Let's pretend this never happened, Lucy,"
he said, his voice calm yet laced with an undercurrent of uncertainty. "Perhaps it's best for us to let this go, for reasons that linger in the shadows of our minds. What could possibly be gained from prolonging this situation, particularly when everything is already in disarray? We require distance from one another." When he uttered those words, a strange echo stirred within me. He was right, though the realization hung in the air, heavy and uncertain.
"Carrying on like this seems destined to bring pain to us both."
"Indeed," I replied, inhaling deeply. "Perhaps this is the most suitable outcome. If you choose to go, perhaps that's the answer we're seeking. It seems like the most sensible option for us, though I can't shake the feeling that there's more beneath the surface." Victor nodded, his expression inscrutable.
"I have to do this,"
he said, a hint of uncertainty in his voice.
"It's what's best for both of us."
We lingered in silence for a few moments, our eyes locked in a quiet exchange, each of us searching for meaning in the other's gaze. In that moment, an unsettling clarity washed over us, revealing the weight of our choice. We confronted the shadows of our past, acknowledging that those haunting instances were merely missteps in our journey. Confronting that reality could be the initial move in the complex journey of rectifying the situation. Rather than ensnaring ourselves in a web of complications, it seemed that allowing some distance was the only path that remained open to us. I wonder if my story resonated with you in ways I can't quite predict. This journey has unfolded in ways I never anticipated, and the complexity of sharing it with you has stirred a deep sense of happiness within me. If you're curious to delve deeper into tales like this, remember to subscribe and activate notifications. You might just find yourself among the first to uncover what unfolds next. Your likes and comments carry a weight I can't quite articulate. Your thoughts and feelings resonate with me in ways I didn't anticipate, stirring a mix of uncertainty and reflection that fuels my drive. Your support profoundly influences my creative journey. Thank you all deeply, and I look forward to our next encounter in the unfolding narrative.